Personal experiences are far more important in equity investing than all the numbers which are thrown at you. We sell equity based on numbers. We tell them इसमें इतना percentage return मिलेगा, 12% मिलेगा, 18% मिलेगा, 24%, whatever. That has been told to people while selling. People have been told now the PE is low, you should invest. When the PE is high, you should be selling, etc. But when the P is high, you say, oh, P could go higher because you don't want that AUM to fall because there is a conflict, right? So, actually, it is the personal experiences which matter, in the sense that I started investing, or I would say trading a little bit in 1979, which is about 40 years ago, 41 to be precise. And obviously the transaction sizes were small, but remember that time there was a minimum lot. So if I wanted to buy a Suzuki, I had to buy a minimum of 50 shares. If I had to buy a HDFC, I had to buy a minimum of 5 shares. Remember, it was a 100 rupee share. So these kind of restrictions made sure that you could not buy 1 share or 2 shares. Odd lots were just not available. Or it was available but at an inefficient price, so it didn't make much sense to. So you started investing, and you started investing and slowly accumulating wealth. You started getting dividends, etc. So you traded, you invested, and the greatest favor to Indian investors was made by the most representing the Communist Party, Mr. George Fernandez. He ensured that all of us got a part of the important pie of the Colgates and the Cummins and the Kodaks of the world. And therefore, a lot of Indians became investors in 1977 when this forced FARA dilution happened. So that is when most of the portfolios for the 70s got built, and if you were lucky enough and you still stay stuck to it, your portfolio has done very well. It's not some great portfolio skill. Yes, it is about having picked up those shares at that price and sticking around for 41 years. That's not for what, 43, 17, yeah, for 43 years. That is a huge achievement. So equity returns we know is about, but what could have gone wrong? Well, if I'm talking of my personal experience, if my dad had needed money for some emergency, most logically he would have said, oh, I bought this share for 90 rupees, today it is 130 rupees, let me sell off. So Colgate would have gone out, right? Luckily for him, that was not needed, and luckily for me, that whole portfolio was available to manage, and I had anyway developed an interest in equity, right? So all these factors put together, now imagine a person who retired in 1991 and came into the market in 1992, boom, and he invested in, say, Mazda Industries. People put disproportionately large amounts. So maybe he got 2.5 lakhs by way of retirement, and let's say he put 50,000 rupees in Mazda Industries. That 50,000 got wiped out. It's gone to zero, right? Today those kind of risks are less, but it is still there. I know people still who do direct equity lose huge amounts. You would have obviously lost money in Jet Airways, you would have lost money in CCD, you would have lost money in many such cases which has just gone to zero. Yes Bank, right? So any of these shares, you could have taken your worth to zero if you put, especially if you put all your money, or if you put a disproportionately large amount of money into these shares, right? So stock picking is not easy. We people got lucky with whatever stock we picked. Like I said, George Fernandez helped. Somewhere in the 80s, I started looking at Murugappa Group, I think 86, 87, end of 80s. That was a time when Murugappa Group was not too much worried about its share price or anything. They just ran their company, the market thought they didn't exist, so the price would never go up, and if I claim that I bought it that time, it was because of the dividends that they were paying. So those dividends helped, so they would get a 10, you could get a 8% dividend yield or a 7% dividend yield. So Cholamandalam or a Coromandel would be available at 17, 18 rupees, and they would be paying 10% dividend. So you said 5% dividend yield was not bad. You bought an Apollo hospital at sub 10, again a 10% dividend paying company, so you got 10% dividend yield, which is all very difficult to believe that these were the prices, but there were no buyers saying, oh, how can you make money from a hospital? How can you make money from Dr. Reddy laboratory? It is his personal money that, we can't make money. That's what people told me. So then I realized that, well, a lot of equity education had to still be done. People would save money, there is absolutely no question. People born in the 50s, 60s, and obviously earlier would naturally go and save money, but that never got translated to investing. Now, thanks to the location where I stayed, some of our savings got translated to investing, and we were very lucky that over 30-40 years I have never had the emergency or the urgency to remove money from equity, right? That could have been a killer. Exactly when you don't want to remove money, you have a family emergency and this cash is called for, like say 1993. Or let's imagine a man retiring in 1924 in the US, starting a systematic investment plan or something like that, and in 1929 find that 80-90% of his money is wiped out. What would he do, right? So it leaves deep scars. So your personal experience, if it doesn't leave too many deep scars, if you made money trading equity, if you made money investing in equity, and you invest in companies which you think you understand. If you're an engineer, you understand Larsen and Toubro better than you understand something else. If you're a pharma person, you understand Sun Pharma better than Larsen and Toubro. That's all. So develop your niche, but largely the experience is important. If you got good experience, if you made money, you will stick on. It does not matter what is the PE or what is not the PE. There are some shares which I will not sell. So it's driven more by emotion rather than by logic. Thank you.